smallmouth bass fishing.
Let's get it, baby.
70 degrees today, beautiful day. Smallmouth gotta be moving up. The midges are here, it's miserable, it's nasty. They're all over everything. Dad took the leaf blower to it this morning, but as you can see, they're hanging tough. Bugs, great. Just got a few midges here. I love how they turn the boat green.
They literally cover the boat.
It was mid-afternoon and the fog was this dense. Stayed that way all day. I think about half of that was probably the midge population as they exploded on Saturday morning. You know, last weekend we were driving up 10 minutes from the lake, it was 70 degrees. At Sandusky Bay, it was like we hit a wall of fog. The temperature dropped almost 15 degrees immediately.
We don't have fog in the lake at 3 o'clock in the afternoon where we live.
The lake makes its own weather this time of year. Lake Erie was about 48 degrees last weekend, and the fog just laid on it. This weekend it was a lot the same. The fog was tough the first part of the weekend. I can hear a boat approaching. We were fishing some pretty shallow water. I'd just come across this in my graph and it was 3 to 4 feet deep. Several big rocks. You know, Lake Erie's up about 30 inches right now. When water returns to normal levels, there's going to be a bunch of people tearing up boats. Middle Bass Island is just a beautiful place. One of my favorite places to go in the world. I've seen the water temperature make huge jumps in a short amount of times like it did this spring. Like I said, last weekend the water temperature at Lake Erie was about 48 degrees. This weekend before we left, the water jumped almost 20 degrees. We found some mid-60s water out there. You know, our graphs read a surface temperature, and sometimes that's a little misleading. And what happens, I've experienced in early spring, is I go out and I see that graph that says, you know, mid-60s water, and I know it's made a huge jump in a short amount of time. I just expect the fishing to be on fire. And what happens is a week to 2 weeks after that initial jump is when that fire actually takes place.
It is time to get after these fish. We've played around with them too long. We've experimented. We've got out of our comfort zone. But you know what? It's gonna happen today. High sunshine, it's gonna happen.
Beautiful day. About to go catch some smallmouth. You can hear me begging for this fish to jump because if they don't jump, it probably means it's not a bass. Kash and I boated a ton of quality sheephead, even though it doesn't matter. You know, we struggle to get a bite in the first couple days. One thing about Lake Erie, you know, you can have too much wind, but you can also have too little. And for me, in my experience, Lake Erie, when it's flat and calm, it's some of your most difficult days fishing, especially with that high sunshine. We were able to get a few bites, but we really had to work for them on these flat, calm days. It just seemed to keep the fish scattered out. We had fished the same spot on a previous day, and I remember looking at Kash one time and he was covered literally head to toe with midges. He had a black rain suit on and it was just incredible. They were just in certain spots on the lake. Been rough since I caught a 5-pound walleye. And a 5 pound
Hey,
smallmouth.
but it's also coming from the guy that we were up here last year. We caught literally 20 fish in 20 minutes. So
It's been a struggle.
It's been a struggle, but that's why it's called fishing, not catching.
We're gonna figure it out. You know, when I first get to Lake Erie, or any other lake for that matter, one of the first things I do is I check a bunch of spots. I try to cover a bunch of water with something I can chuck in line, just to see if I can find some active fish that I can go back to over the next few days of my trip. You know, I've been going to the same spot on Middle Bass Island for about 25 years. It's hard at times not to go back and fish those memories of spots, but so that's what I try to do is I try to get out and I try to check a bunch of those spots that I've fished in the past, because these fish are about to pull up to spawn, and I know where that's going to take place. Able to pull up on a school of quality fish here, caught quite a few. You know, once you hook one fish out of that school, typically you can get 4 or 5 bites out of that same school. It seems like when you get one bite, every bass within 50 feet gets fired up. We're fishing a break here. It's just a great place for staging bass to locate as they pull up out of deep water. And there's a big shallow flat to our back that, you know, they bet on every season. There were 3 4 pound smallmouth landed in my boat this spring before I was able to land a quality fish myself. You know, it had honestly started to get in my head that I couldn't boat a quality fish, so here I finally hook up with one and I lose it. I can't tell you how many fish I broke off, how many hooks broke. Just, I can't tell you the bad luck that I started out this season at Lake Erie with. But you can't let it ruin your day. You just got to keep fishing. You know, me and this guy right here, linebacker mentality guys. We always have to remind each other to ease up. There's nowhere this fish can go. Just let it play itself out. You know, I fought this fish what seemed like forever here on that light pound test. It's just an incredible fight. Those northern smallmouth, how they get out of the water, nothing like it, man. But I was finally able to get that monkey off my back here. We act like little kids, we get excited, nothing like it.
Let's go.
You know, if you own a bass boat or any kind of boat for that matter, there's always going to be issues. We had dead batteries. Luckily, Dad was there. Dad came to save the day. Good to see Kash is enjoying himself.
I had a freaking heart attack.
Caught a 4 pounder the first evening we was out here, and it's that pre-spawn time up here up north, and you know, we think it could happen any day. So stick tuned with us. You know, when we throw on our standard, we're going back to our basics today, man. We're gonna DT6 them. We're gonna, you know, throw our drop shot, throw our Ned rig, and we're gonna see if we can get it done. It is Monday, it is Memorial Day, we're out on Lake Erie and we're enjoying something that, that we love to do, and it wouldn't be without, the ultimate sacrifice to all of our men and women in the U.S. military. We're thinking of you, we're thinking of the families of the fallen. You guys made the ultimate sacrifice, and just cannot thank you guys enough for everything you guys do, for allowing, people like me and Coach to come out here and do something that we love to do.
Another Lake Erie sunset. Man, what a beautiful place to fish. Got the lake to myself tonight. Well, it's the end of another trip. Had a pretty good trip this weekend with Kash, Memorial Day weekend 2020. We were able to find some smallmouth. They're still pretty scattered out. We grew up here last weekend, first time this year, and the wind just wouldn't cut us a break, so we didn't get to fish much, at least the spots we wanted because the wind was so tough. This weekend, you kind of had the other side of that. It was almost flat 2 or 3 days, but today we picked up a little more chop. And the fish really started to cooperate tonight. Caught a bunch of quality fish. Had easily my best day this year up here at Lake Erie. Just can't beat this place, man. I spot locked 2 spots tonight. For 2 hours I fished 2 spots, spot lock and drop. Never know what you're gonna catch. Probably caused me sheephead as I did bass tonight. Had my line broke 3 or 4 times. Fishing that light pound test in those gnarly rocks, it's hard not to break a few off every now and then. One thing you gotta do, especially up here, is you gotta check your line and retie often. We'll be back in about a week or so. Gonna give it another run. Lake Erie, May 2020.